A year ago, Donald Trump was publicly humiliating Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office, dismissing the Ukrainian president as someone perpetually chasing American funding in weapons. Always looking to purchase missiles, Trump quipped. The dynamic seemed fixed, with Ukraine being the supplicant, America the reluctant benefactor. But in March 2026, the Iran war flipped that scenario entirely. With Iran firing hundreds of Shahed drones daily against U.S. forces and Gulf infrastructure, and with American and allied missile interceptor stockpiles draining at an alarming rate, Washington has done something it could not have imagined a year ago. It has gone to Kyiv for help. President Zelensky announced on X, "We received a request from the United States for specific support in protection against Shaheds in the Middle East. I gave instructions to provide the necessary means and ensure the presence of Ukrainian specialists who can guarantee the required security," he added. Iranian Shahed drones cost between $20,000 and $50,000 to produce. The missile interceptors used to shoot them down cost millions. When Iran is launching them in mass waves day after day, the arithmetic quickly becomes unsustainable, regardless of how sophisticated the defending air defense network is. By the morning of March 6th, the Gulf Cooperation Council states had confirmed over 2,150 interceptions of Iranian drones, missiles, and aircraft, according to the International Institute for Strategic Studies. Roughly a quarter were ballistic missiles, but the overwhelming majority were UAVs. The interception rate has been high, but the cost of maintaining it has been punishing, and Iran needs only a handful to get through for its asymmetric strategy to register. And some have gotten through. Iranian drones have struck a luxury hotel in Dubai, one of Saudi Arabia's largest oil refineries, a major LNG terminal in Qatar, communications equipment at a U.S. naval headquarters in Bahrain, the U.S. Embassy compound in Saudi Arabia, a British military base in Cyprus, and a Kuwaiti position where 6 American service personnel were killed. The damage in absolute terms has been manageable. The psychological and economic signal has been far more corrosive. Ukraine has been living inside the Shahed problem since Russia began deploying Iranian-supplied drones, rebranded as Garan-2, against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. The years of exposure have produced institutional knowledge of how to defeat these weapons cheaply. Ukraine's sudden relevance exposes something damaging about American war preparation. It had planned a war against the original provider of Shaheds, and then they are surprised that Shaheds are numerous and difficult to intercept. The disconnect is made stranger still by what the Pentagon was simultaneously doing behind the scenes. Admiral Brad Cooper, the U.S. CENTCOM commander, has confirmed the use of Lucas, a one-way strike drone. American forces had captured an Iranian Shahed, reverse-engineered it, and produced their own version, which is now being used offensively against Iran under Operation Epic Fury. The Pentagon was capable enough to copy the weapon. It simply did not prepare to defend against it, despite knowing Iran had stockpiled them in the thousands. Iranian drones struck recently Israeli bases in multiple attempts.
Hezbollah has struck the Stella Maris naval base northwest of Haifa with a missile barrage, targeting the strategic Israeli installation used for naval monitoring and control on the northern coast. The strike is part of a broadening offensive Hezbollah has been conducting since entering the war against Israel in solidarity with Iran, following the assassination of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The group had earlier struck a military site in Haifa with missiles and drones, marking the first time in more than a year it had targeted the city. In a separate attack that reached deeper into Israeli territory than any Hezbollah strike since hostilities intensified, the group claimed to have targeted the IDF Home Front Command headquarters in Ramlah and a satellite communications station in the Eila Valley near Beit Shemesh. Israel has responded by pushing ground forces deeper into southern Lebanon, issuing forced displacement orders covering 59 areas, including several Dahiya neighborhoods. The Israeli military said on Monday that its air force had completed additional waves of strikes in Lebanon over the past few days, adding that dozens of rocket and missile launchers belonging to Hezbollah were dismantled south of the Litani River. The hostilities are expected to increase.
8 Israeli soldiers, including the son of Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, were injured in a rocket attack by Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah in northern Israel on Friday. Hezbollah's rocket attack was in response to relentless Israeli strike on Lebanon amid its war with Iran. According to the Times of Israel, 5 of the 8 soldiers were seriously wounded in the rocket attack. The troops, who all serve with the Givati Brigade, were taken to the hospital for treatment. The Israeli military on Friday released footage that it claimed showed airstrikes on Hezbollah targets across Lebanon. In a statement, the army said its air force, guided by IDF intelligence, completed a broad-scale wave of strikes in Beirut against Hezbollah terror infrastructure. According to Lebanon's health ministry, the number of people killed by Israeli strikes since Monday has risen to 217, with another 798 wounded. After the attacks by the US and Israel on Iran triggered a new war in the Middle East, Hezbollah launched missiles and drones into Israel Monday for the first time in over a year. Israel has retaliated by bombarding southern Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs.
The Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group has unleashed bloody attacks on Israeli forces in southern Lebanon amid renewed fighting. An officer of the Israeli Defense Forces was seriously wounded during fighting with Hezbollah in South Lebanon on March 5th. The IDF also informed that another soldier suffered moderate injuries. Both troops serve in the IDF's Givati Brigade and were taken to a hospital for treatment. According to the Times of Israel, citing the IDF, their families were notified and no further details were shared. The wounded officer marks the most serious casualty yet among Israeli troops since ground forces began pushing deeper into southern Lebanon in recent days as part of an offensive in response to renewed cross-border rocket fire. On March 4th, 2 Israeli soldiers were wounded after Hezbollah launched anti-tank guided missile in southern Lebanon. This was the first reported injury among Israeli forces since the start of the regional war. Fresh conflict broke out between Hezbollah and the IDF after the Lebanon-based militant group launched rockets and drones at northern Israel on March 2nd to avenge the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In response, the Israel Defense Forces advanced further into southern Lebanon, with the military saying it assumed forward defensive positions to establish an additional defensive layer to remove the threats to the residents of northern Israel. Remember, Israel, in violation of the previous agreement, has been occupying parts of southern Lebanon. Israel carried out a series of airstrikes late Thursday into Friday, targeting the southern suburbs of Beirut, as well as areas in southern and eastern Lebanon. Loud explosions could be heard as the strikes lit up the skyline. IDF said it targeted Hezbollah military infrastructure in a wave of airstrikes in Dahiya. According to Lebanon, 123 people have been killed in Israel's strikes, and 83,000 had evacuated before Thursday's evacuation order.